years' time, what have you done? Because I know you've done some stuff in 2 years.
No, not really. I mean, I've done a lot of repair. Had some issues with the track coming up. I bragged and bragged and bragged how this track was, or how I laid this track and everything like that, but I found one fault with it that was kind of my own. And hindsight being 2020, you figure, aha, it's an aha moment. Like, I replaced a piece of track over there because it was not good. And I used the spray bottle method, loosen it up and everything else, but I didn't realize I was loosening up the track beside it. Being a dummy and not thinking water spreads. Okay, there you go. But had two places that happened at, right here in this curve. When I added this piece on, that entire curve I replaced to put the switches in and stuff. And when I did it, I wasn't thinking, well, it's going to bleed into the second track and loosen it up. But it did. And come up here to run trains one day, and it was a long time after I did. When I say a long time, I'm talking months. All of a sudden, trains would go across there and all derail, and every train would derail, no matter what I ran with. And I thought, what in the world is going on there? And I went over and I took my finger and I pushed on it, and the track just bounced up and down. It's like, oh my goodness. So I replaced that track, thinking the track was no good. As you can see right now, it runs fine. But I really didn't have to do that. The track, there was nothing wrong with the track, but it was let loose. So what I did, there was a section over here on this curve, did the same thing, because I did the same thing. I just re-wet it down and put my weights on top of it, and so far we've been pretty good. So, lesson learned. Nobody knows everything.
So do you use track nails normally, or just for right now until you get it ballasted back in?
Well, I use track nails when I first lay it, and then I put the ballast on it, and I usually take the track nails out. At least the places that are up front here you can see, and that are easy to get to. 90% of this track here has no track nails in it. But since it's on foam, the track nails will just ripped out anyhow. Because the track nails, I mean, they're really not holding it, they're just temporary. They really don't hold the track down. They hold it in place, but they don't hold it down.
And you do 2-inch foam?
Yep.
Right?
2-inch foam base. Everything is on 2-inch foam. Everywhere. On top of plywood. So it's got a good solid base. I've seen guys on the internet, they're making layouts and they'll cut a piece of foam and that's it. Now, I would say that'd be okay normally, but I wanted something that was, my big behind had to climb up here and get on something. I wasn't going straight down through the layout. So that's what I did. And this new section I put on from here to here, the whole way around, from there around, that's all just foam. But believe it or not, it holds me. I mean, I've been up on it and done things and had no problems with it.
Going into the show at Altoona, anything in particular that you're on the hunt for?
No, I wouldn't say really I would be hunting anything in particular. Everybody has their bucket list items they want to get. I have a couple left that I would like to get. The Hiawatha set, the 1939 Hiawatha set. I would love to come across one of them at a reasonable price, but that's never going to happen.
And the Portland Rose?
And the Portland Rose Concours set. Yep, that's true. I would like to have that set. But I go up there to see everybody and to get good deals. I mean, anybody that watches this video, I know not everybody can make it to the East Coast. A lot of people would die to go to Amherst. I would die to go to Amherst. And I know it's not easy, especially with the weather. Because the weather on the East Coast this time of year, you know, you could have snow or you could have a hurricane. God only knows. So, but I understand it's hard to get out here. Garrett Metcalf is coming in from Kansas City, which he has an auction on Facebook. He's a good guy. I buy stuff off of him all the time. Of course, Gary comes up from Tennessee. Zeke McGee comes in from Ohio. And I know over Todd Treaster's, like he was talking to us last night, he has people coming in from South Africa. And all over the place. So, my only regret is I don't have a bigger place, that not so much to have a bigger layout, because I love big layouts, but I personally wouldn't want to own one because it's a lot of work. And if anybody doesn't believe that's a lot of work, come up here and spend a week with Todd. You'll find out. I like a smaller layout. Yes, would I like to expand it a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. But I wouldn't want to go much bigger than this. I mean, Gary's layout, your layout, and my room, your room, about the same size. Yours is a different configuration, and I love the way it is. Yours has different elevations to it. Mine's all one elevation. Anybody can get different elevations in a small space like this. That's good. Without a helix, you're doing great.
Definitely a trick to it.
Yes, and that's a trick I have never learned. Never. Anytime I tried to elevate a train track, I had nothing but misery.
Well, you ever decide to redo, I can definitely be
My
handy to come up and show you.
And that would be wonderful. My regret to this whole thing is nothing that I did here on top. It's that I never thought I would collect as many cars and locomotives as I did. Never in a million years would I have thought that. I would have over 500 locomotives. I'd have 2,000 or 3,000 cars. So you'd asked me this back in 2015 when I started. I told you you were full of it. I would have told you were full of it. I'd never have that much. And I do. And my regret is that I didn't build some sort of a staging yard underneath here. And the only one I can think of that ever did it the way I would like to do it is Roy Smith. When Roy Smith built his layout, Roy hated a helix. He hated his helixes. I think he had two. He had a real round oval one, and then he had one that was just like a normal helix. And it operated well for him, but he didn't like them. And I would have loved to have a staging yard underneath this, because the longest trains I can run on here, and that's short cars too, smaller cars, is 40 cars. I wouldn't run anything bigger than 40 cars in this layout. I can. I've done it, but I really don't want to. Because it wouldn't look right. But if I'd have had my way, I'd have put 8, 10, maybe 10, 20 tracks underneath here. And had 10 or 12 trains made up so that I could alternate trains in and out instead of run the same thing all the time. No, I don't like McHenry couplers. I'm a microtrains, couplers kind of guy and will always be. So yeah, that's my one regret, is that I didn't put a staging yard in. Well, lessons being learned going down the road. If I would ever take this down, I mean that's a big if, and redo it, it would probably be in the same kind of configuration. But there would definitely be a staging yard with a very long run to get up onto the main lines. And if anybody has any questions, please go over to my YouTube channel, or they can PM me on Facebook, and I'll answer the questions for you if you have any questions about the layout. Like I had one gentleman ask me, the spacing is so wide on my two main lines. Why I have so much space in between the tracks? And to be quite honest with you, there is about a 1/4 inch in between the road bed. There's about a 1/4 inch between the road beds of this line and this line. There's only about a 1/4 inch gap there. So it's kind of naturally how it is. I probably could have got it closer. But then again, I find it nice that I can reach in here and I can have this seam where the workers are in between the tracks working with equipment and stuff, have dead rail laying in the tracks, dead piles of railroad ties. I haven't put them in yet, but I have them. And just for ease of access. I probably could have put a third main line in, but I didn't really see the need for it. There's a lot of busy track on this little layout, and that's a lot of guys when they start out, they try and shove so much track into a little area. It looks like a big bowl of spaghetti, and it's not attractive.
You ever taken switch cars in and out of the yards?
Yes, but it's kind of 050 kind of thing sometimes, because in order to make a train up out of this yard, you have to file the one main line to do it.
So no yard leads?
There's no yard leads. It was not big enough.
So if you want to park one, you foul it.
If I want to park one, I have to file the main line, or bring it to the inside here. These two tracks here are big enough sidings they can hold 2 40-car trains. So I can park this train, but there's only one main line that accesses these two sidings. There's a siding on the inside where the passenger train is sitting at, where the station's at, and usually I have a passenger train sitting there, but I could park another 40 or even a 50-car train on that siding if I want to. But to make a train up out of the yard, I could probably do it. I have 3 classification tracks over here that I keep empty, 3 or 4. There's 4. That I can build a small train there. I could probably put a 30-car train or better together in there. Smaller cars. Bigger cars like your auto racks and your 86-foot high cube cars, no. But, you know, they're not big enough to hold like your hold 2 stacked train car sets, 5 car sets. Yeah, intermodal sets. They're not big enough to hold 2, and that's a big regret. But I got the switch coming off the main here, and I got a switch coming off the main here. This one is manual, that one's a remote, which I never really powered because it's such a reach. If anything derails in that switch, for me to get from here to over there, it's going to wipe out just everything. So I try not to do anything from that end. I try and do everything from this end. And I mean, the yard runs fine as far as the locomotives go. I mean, I can roll in and out of here no problem at all. Every switch is a number 6 switch. A lot of them are custom line Atlas and Pico switches. All of these in here are Pico, so, and they're all directional as far as that goes. So if I want to park a locomotive, say on this track here, I can do that, flip that switch, and it won't have power. I can flip the switch back and I have power to that, and then of course the yard ladder has its own power switch here. So the yard ladder can be powered, the lead into the yard can be powered, and I can have a locomotive in every one of those tracks and it can be off without blocking it.
How much of a pain was that to wire?
Well, there's no blocks in there. They're directional switches through Pico. So in other words, when you throw a Pico switch one way or the other, whether it's diverging or standard.
Oh, electro frogs?
They're not electrofrogs. They're insofrogs.
Insofrogs, okay.
But they'll still throw the power to one side or the other of the switch. So these are Pico switches here on my main line, but I have them soldered underneath that there's constant power going to both the diverging and the main route. When you get them, whichever way you throw your points, that's the way the power is going to go.
Gotcha.
So in the yard, I didn't do any modifications to the switches just for that reason. So I didn't have to run a bunch of blocks on here. As you can see, I don't have them on here anymore. I did, but I got rid of them because they're all standard Picos, which are, you know, the power goes to whichever way you throw the point. And a lot of people say, well, then you could only park locomotives on half of your switches because, you know, the other half will be powered, the other half won't. And it's like, you want 16 locomotives sitting in there in front of all your cars? No, you don't. You have one switcher. And he'll come in, you can make up a train, put in your classifications here. No problem at all. Make up a train, put in your classification. Pull your switcher up in, park them. Have your main line power come in, drag it out the classification tracks. Boom, you got a train. Now the challenging part comes when you're going to put the train that was on your main line back into the classification log. Because now your main line is fouled. And that's a big downfall to having a stub end yard like this and not having a yard that goes through. Like my classification yards, you can run them through from one end to the other. This is a stub end yard. So you can only come in one way. And that's another big downfall. If I had another 10 feet that way, it'd have been golden. But woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, you make do with what you got. I'm very happy with the way it is. And all my subscribers to my channel, I gotta thank them all because I haven't posted a video in almost 2 years. And I've been sick, people. I've been a sickly man the last year. We had a lot of heartbreak in the family over here in the past since December. Well, actually since May of last year. My father-in-law got sick with cancer. He passed away in December, and we're still dealing with his estate and everything like that. And it's been a drag on trying to get up here and do anything. I had a lot of projects on the iron, ready to go. A lot of projects I wanted to do. We were going to put a lot more trees, and Zeke and Todd is redoing Pittsburgh, and Zeke was redoing his town and cities. I could do so much more detailing and I just got away from it because life gets in the way. Roy Smith's famous saying, life gets in the way. I miss that old boy. And we lost a bunch of friends too over this past year. I mean, I think my dad was telling me the other day he went to 2 weddings and 5 funerals in the past 6 months. So we've lost a lot of good people. And I really haven't been up here. This is getting ready for Altoona weekend is my goal every year, to have certain people come over and look at the layout, have Gary come up. This is the weekend I look forward to. So I had to get up here and I had to really get to work just to get it to do this, because I haven't paid attention to it in months.
I think you just got up here, what, about a week ago?
Yeah, about a week ago or so. Was finally able to get everything, make sure everything was running right. And like I said, your track work is the most important thing. I don't care what anybody tells you. Todd has a real good saying. Todd Treaster has a real good saying. He said, I'd rather have an okay looking layout that runs really good than a super detailed and a super good looking layout that you can't run a train on. So, I mean, it's all about running the trains. If you can't come up here and run them like they are now, they've been running them now for what? Over an hour.
Yep.
Not one derailment, nothing like that. I had a breakaway where the coupler left loose in the front locomotive. That happens. Crappy couplers. But you know, no derailments, knock on wood. They've been running good. They've been running good since I come up here last week. The gremlins have stayed away. But for anybody that wants to, that wants to get into it and wants advice on it, just don't go too big too quick, because you'll be so busy you won't have fun with it. You'll get tired of it. Leave yourself room for improvement. Leave yourself room to expand, but do it a little bit at a time.
Don't be afraid to redo.
Nope, don't be afraid to redo. Goodness gracious, everybody knows that Todd's not afraid to redo. My goodness, that project he did, he did several projects. The project of Pittsburgh, oh my goodness, that was incredible. Redid all his power panels. Redid
CTC.
Yep, went to a CTC panel. Redid his whole end at the Lewistown end of his layout. Looks wonderful now, but it's a lot of work. And anybody doesn't think this is work, they're seriously mistaken.
Labor of love.
It is. It's fun. It's fun doing it. But it's also fun to come up here and not work and just watch the trains go. So if you don't have good track work, you're not going to have fun. You can get the trains to running. That's what you want. Concentrate your track work, everything else will fall into place.
So you got something special this week, huh?
Yes, I did.
What'd you get?
Right here. That's thanks to a very good friend, name of Gary Walters. He made this car for me, made the decals, painted it, weathered it, and everything.
It's only one of 3.
Only one of 3.
And they're all the same road number.
Yes, they are. When Ozzy passed away, me and Gary were on the fence, and man, Ozzy passed away. We couldn't believe Ozzy Osbourne had gone. Because we both love Ozzy. Well, guess what? he took it a step further. We seen, what was that on the internet?
Gondola.
Yeah, there was train cars that were tagged with all these images of Ozzy and stuff. They were incredible, and you found a way to do it. Looks really, really, really super good.
Well, thank you.
And I thank you for giving me one. That's just incredible.
More than happy.
And I have to say this in Gary's behalf. He won't say it, but I will. He just started learning with an airbrush. He's never used an airbrush before. And I talked to him one night and I said, just get into it and start spraying and see what happens. And look how good he did. You guys ought to give him kudos. That's airbrush. He did a good job for a guy that's never used one. I can't do that.
Only 2 weeks in.
Yeah. Did a great job. I can't do that. Yes, it looks very good. And I love it. But I think here in the near future, if my health stays good and I can stay out of the hospital, I would like to not redo my town scene, but to add more to it, to make it kind of pop more and draw your eye there. And I would like to do that. I had taken a buttload of trees off this thing. Before I got sick, and I never put any back on. I know a lot of people are like, wow, there's a lot of trees on there, where do you take them from? But believe me, I know where they were at, and they're missing, and it bothers me. But I have a lot of trees I want to put back on here, and I'm going to do them a different way. Super trees are great. We both use them, right, Gary?
Yep.
And they're great, but the only thing about them is they get very brittle. And next thing you know, you have branches laying all over the place, and it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? So these trees over here in this section here, you'll see right here, are goldenrod. That is a local plant that grows around here. And Todd Treaster showed me how to do them, and his layout has over 4,000 of these trees on it. And they don't come apart, they don't get brittle, they don't fall off, and they look great. So I got to go around and get some goldenrod before I got sick last year, and I have yet to make them, but I got a bunch that I'm going to put on here. And I'd like to just, like Zeke and Todd did, they got small. Whenever you look at Zeke's pictures of his layout and your videos of his that, you got small ones. So this scene right here, you got small ones, and there's so many details you can add to it. There's so many small details in N scale nowadays, it's incredible. So I would like to pick like a section of layout and get small with it, get down, get detailed with it. And believe it or not, the last video that Roy Smith made, I started to do that, and it was 2 years in between the times that he was here, from the last time to the last time. And he says it just had a different feel about it. It had a whole different feel and aura to the layout. And that's because of what I did. The one time he came here, the whole back city scene wasn't in there. The bridge, nothing. And I did all that, and he showed up and he's like, oh my goodness, it looks so much different. So I would like to do that and just get into the details and the bones of it and get small.